In today's video, I'm gonna be sitting down with two of my consulting clients. They work for a company called Access Benefit Consultants. It's an insurance company that's building out a media arm of its business, and they've hired me to help build the infrastructure and foundation. My main priority here is to help the talent Austin just focus on being the talent. Just focus on interviewing the people on their show, Keep Living, as well as kind of pulling him out of the day-to-day things that go on in building a media arm of your company or building out a production for a show like this. So I'm excited to sit down with Jamal as well as Lance in their two roles and figure out the foundational steps and systems that they can utilize to help this company accomplish that and get the reach that they need to continue to get more distribution, more brand awareness, and ultimately more sales. Lance, I know it's our first time meeting. It's my understanding like you're really the first line of defense for the brand. You know what I'm saying? You behind the ATM Mini eventually. Yeah. Right now you manning the cameras and things of that nature. I talked to Austin today just about your role and mainly like understanding like you kind of are like the guy like leading the ship. So like if this was an assembly line, like your station is first. So meaning like if your job's not done properly, he can't do his job, Dean can't do his job, things of that nature, right? I think from your standpoint, like your role is going to expand too, just because like he mentioned y'all might be doing like a set going forward instead of like moving around and stuff like that potentially. I think for you it's just going to be similar to him, like just researching and like figuring out, looking at other shows, looking at like how their setup is, like camera positioning, lighting and things of that nature. Because I think where the show is now is good, right? But the goal is for it to be great and for people to continue to tap in and view it, and as you all continue to grow it and expand it so people want to like buy from the company, right? So I think it'll be you looking at like existing shows and things of that nature so that you can like add in different elements that's going to help people want to watch it longer. So whether that's like, okay, let's move the camera here, like let's move the lighting here and things of that nature. Where do you think you're like comfortable in that area now? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So I've been in that space, primarily audio, for some years now.
Okay, dope.
So there are definitely a lot of changes that I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
You said it looks good.
Yeah.
But it can definitely be better. The audio can be better. Camera positioning might be better. The switch, person to person could be better. So yeah, I'm very comfortable with it.
Dope. It's extremely important for the team to work cohesively together. And as the person that's actually filming the content the day of, like if this were an assembly line, you are the first station. No one else can do their job without you. So it's extremely important for you to take your role seriously, show up every day, do your part as a team member, because like I said, if this is a football team, I would view it as the offensive line, because in football, nothing gets done without the trenches. And so it's not perfect. You know, it's not an easy job. You have to set up lighting, you have to check audio, you have to make sure that the whole production works smoothly so that the producer, so that the talent can focus on their roles and do their job, and so that it makes the editor's life easy. So when the content and stuff gets to him, it's not something that he or she has to worry about. So content is a team game. It's a team sport. I think it's extremely important and it's so less talked about. And that's why I look at creatives as the new athletes. Content creation is an extremely competitive sport. There are a lot of people vying for these opportunities, but the best will take their role seriously, be detail oriented, and study the game around them. I think for you, like what we picked up last week was like more so on like, I think I stopped on like we were talking about packaging. Like meaning like the title and the thumbnail and stuff like that for like the shows. Because I know y'all are gonna be doing a lot on YouTube and things of that nature. Yeah, I think, and it may roll over into you too, but like it's really gonna come down to like images and text. So like those two core key elements. I know y'all got like really y'all got Canon EOS Rs, so they got both capability. They're a hybrid camera, so they can shoot photo and video. So we're gonna need like still photography that's gonna work well on these thumbnails, right? YouTube is like Netflix, right? When you get on Netflix, you have to make a choice whether you watch something. So on YouTube, it's the same thing. They're pushing your content to a new audience, but somebody has to opt in and choose, okay, hey, I wanna watch this today, right? So it's our job, really your job, Jamal, to figure out like, how can I encourage somebody to click? If you get a click, then you know your work and Dean's work has a better chance to win. You know what I'm saying? So now it's your job to retain them throughout the show.
So you're saying instead of like capturing a thumbnail within the video, like a screenshot, so to say, have a camera that is specifically just for those photos?
So a lot of times if you don't have a dedicated camera, how you might work it is you might say, all right, cool, how do I get another camera on set 10 to 15 minutes before the show. Let Austin and the guests just talk and politic, let him warm them up and get ready for the show. And then you're gonna wanna take pictures during that time. So that way you're catching like natural elements, people are laughing and smiling. And then you might also wanna capture some stage photos as well. So like if I was shooting you right now, okay, can you smile for me? Clip, okay, can you smile, Austin? Okay, clip. And now you got these different angles. But also like from, who will be doing the thumbnails? Do y'all got like a designer on the team? Is that one of y'all, Dean or somebody? Dean? Okay. So you also have to keep in mind like on a thumbnail, like a lot of this stuff is like the real estate is extremely small, right? So you're gonna be dealing with like, let's say a 1080 by 1920 ratio, just like a video. But in terms of spacing, you really want to keep it to those core elements like images and text. So you want to keep your words down. This would be important for you to notate, like at least 5 to 6 words max. But you want to make those words, each one of them words, impactful. Because if you don't, like somebody's not gonna click on the video. But like, let's say this is a thumbnail, right? If you got this person, excuse my stick figure, on this side, and this person on this, I'm sure y'all have seen this on YouTube. Like this person talking to this person, and then you got words here in the bottom or something like that, right? But this is the most important thing, right? Where y'all are in y'all show right now, until y'all get like more notable guests, these faces don't matter as much. Like we're trying to get Austin to become a recognizable face, great. So you want his face on different thumbnails and things like that. But this is your money area. You want this to trigger an emotion. So whether it's curiosity, anger, fear, or something like that. And since y'all selling insurance, fear might be one of the key motivations. Like, I'm just thinking like you're too late, like you don't have insurance left or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Something that's gonna trigger an initial emotion like fear, but also make you curious. Like those are the 2 key mechanisms you want. Anger is another one, but at the same time, you kind of want to be mindful with anger because you don't want to just attract angry people to your community. Like you don't want pissed off people in your comments. Like that's not good for nobody. So Jamal, like that's gonna be a key thing for you. So like going on YouTube, like researching other like big shows, like how are they constructing their thumbnails, like what strategies are they using, like really becoming like a visual architect in the sense of like, okay, cool, they placed the person here, they placed the person here, and the text is here. Well, why'd they do that? You know, going to their channel and looking at the videos, hitting popular and seeing like which videos perform best and how is the packaging look. And it's the same thing for titling as well. It's like how are they constructing the titles to get people to want to click in correlation with the thumbnail? Because just like y'all's roles, those 2 packaging elements are tied at the hip. Like they work together, you know what I'm saying? When you go on YouTube, the first thing you're gonna look at is the thumbnail. The next thing you're gonna do is look at that title. I'm like, does this make sense? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then the next important element is gonna be like Dean's role and really yours too. And like, how do y'all formulate a good intro to the video? Yeah. And that's important because like, does the intro give a payoff, which is what some people call it, to what they saw in the title and the thumbnail? So if it said 5 tips on why you should get life insurance before 40, like that needs to be in this intro. Because otherwise I'm clicking off. You lied to me. You know what I'm saying? So that needs to be a part of the tactic. So those 2 key elements, like the packaging for you and the intros for you and Dean, like it's gonna be extremely pivotal, like in terms of that process. Studying what works on YouTube is what's helped me become a better strategist, become someone that understands the game around YouTube, because YouTube is not the easiest platform to work on or to build brands on, to be honest, because there are so many nuanced components to it. The packaging element inside of it is extremely important. It acts similar to a Netflix, similar to any streaming platform where the viewer ultimately has to decide to click on your piece of content in order to consume it. And the packaging being the front door, the front porch of your YouTube channel. And so when you view it that way, in order to get somebody in your house, they have to walk onto the porch or through the front door. And so that makes it the most important piece of content that you ultimately have is your packaging. You want to go into the YouTube analytics and then let that dictate your decision making. So now it's like, okay, cool. We tried this thumbnail style, or we tried this, and then now let's utilize this same style or title or whatever to do it again. Because once you get a hit, you want to kind of repeat that over and over again. Like, you don't want to just say, oh, let's try something new. No. That's the opposite of what you want to do. From this same standpoint, I would suggest that you all like pick a style, stick a format, and like stick to it for a period of time. When I worked in sports, like when we came up with a campaign, essentially what I would call it, we stuck with that campaign for a few months or for a season. So when we worked in football, the campaign was going to last for the duration of that football season. So from August to January, which is what, August, September, October, November, like 5 to 6 months, like we sticking with the campaign. So that means color sets, that means textures, that means all of those things. Like, you want to stick to that so that it makes y'all's life easier. You come up with it once, and after that, we're not doing it no more. But also from that standpoint, you're giving yourself enough data and information to make an educated decision going forward before you pivot ever again. You know what I'm saying? So now with titles and stuff, you might want to change some things here and there, but at the same time, or thumbnails, excuse me. But for the most part, you kind of want to stay in a family. You don't want to just keep changing it out every week, because you're never going to have enough data at that point to make an educated decision. What I want to impress upon them is that campaigns give you a world to live in during the duration of the campaign, so that you aren't just jerking around your brand. You establish a standard, you stick with that standard during the campaign, and after that, you learn from all the data and make the necessary changes.
But the system to upload, like I showed you on the call, will be a lot more efficient now, because once you record directly to the SSD drive, it's gonna all be on that drive. So then, like, once you upload that onto your frame or whatever you're uploading to, it'll just be however much that time is to upload, right? But if you have a faster internet speed, then it shouldn't take like 30 minutes or whatever the case is. But from the team's perspective, from Dean's perspective, from the editing side, like, what he's gonna care about is everything's organized, everything's together. We got 2 audio tracks, we got 2 video tracks, and then like the DaVinci file as well I told you about that's gonna export as well. So that's an editing file that'll come from like your switch. So like, when you sitting in front of the board, like if this was your switcher board, it'll be connected to the 2 different cameras, so you can be able to switch back and forth between the 2. But that switch is important to Dean because it's gonna save him time. So, because it's gonna export into an editing timeline that he can just go in and change back and forth, or add in the isolated videos from that y'all shot on top to like bring onto the timeline to make any changes if there was any mistakes. Whether it was your fault or the guest or Austin's fault, you know what I'm saying? It's not always your fault, but yeah. So you mean like a setup checklist? Yeah, so I think he said next week is when I'll be coming. I think we'll kind of establish that checklist. Like, once y'all get all the equipment, we'll sit down and create like a operating procedure. Like, okay, these are the things you need to do. Like, one of the biggest things I was even telling him, because I got him on the same system y'all on with his wife's podcast, like, you want to make sure you turn the mic on, because a lot of times, like, I even forget that. Like, I shot my wife's podcast once with the same system I'm giving y'all, and we shot the whole thing and the mic wasn't on. So there was no audio. So you can imagine, she was furious. So it's like, that system and stuff is important, like having those checklists in place. But we'll get that established next week.
Because the truth is, we're not all going to remember everything off the top of our head. It's not going to happen. So the fact of the matter is, on production days, especially for somebody in Lance's seat where you're running the production end to end, because they're operating on a lean team. And so I think it's important for him to have a checklist so that things don't go missing. You don't want the audio not to work. You don't want shots not to be correctly locked in. You don't want the lighting to be off. You need there to be a seamless experience, not only for your talent, so Austin can focus on doing his role when he sits in the chair and does the interviewing, but for the guests too. You want the guests to have the best experience possible, and the best way to get new guests on any show is to have an exceptional experience. And so if you, as the production, like when you're filming a show, like the production sets the tone, it sets the atmosphere for the overall experience. And so it's extremely important for that person to have a checklist, to be detail oriented, so that you can set that tone, and so that it makes everyone's life on set easier, and so that when you pass along files to your producer and ultimately to your editor, it makes their life easier too.
We talked yesterday, me and Austin, about the animation part. Do you know anything about what Dean is taking there? Because what I've seen so far is kind of the animation is motionless. So it's pictures. It's picture to picture to picture. Is there something we could look into to where we can advance to where it's motionless, so where we can have, basically we want to take advantage of that.
That's a good question. Where AI is right now, I'm sure there is a solution. I don't have it on top of my head right now, but I can research it for you. He sent me one of the videos, like right before y'all came.
Because I love the animation that's happening right now. It's just that it's picture to picture to picture. Things I'm seeing on YouTube and TikTok, it's like, oh yeah, we can do so much more. To where I'm thinking, but I don't want to go out of the way.
Do you know what tool he's using to do that though?
No, but I can find out.
Okay. So I think there are a few different tools that you can use. I know Midjourney has video now. I know, who else got video? Everybody got video. Google VO3. But the thing with Midjourney specifically is you can go from like an image to a video, because Midjourney is specifically like an image platform.
Google VO3.
But I'm gonna research some other ones, so you should be able to take it from like an image to a video. The only issue you might run into with that is that right now where AI is, like the video durations you're gonna be able to generate, it's not gonna be that long. So you gotta generate like a bunch of scenes based off of each individual image. So how long would, because from what Austin told me, these are animations based off a story. So these stories are going
to push it into AI will give it back to us. But the only thing I'm thinking is I don't want it to be long. Maybe no more than 15 seconds because of the YouTube policy. So maybe I'm thinking about just for a come line, just for Facebook or TikTok, something to push it out to us, so that we can stick to that original podcast.
Yeah, I think that's a smart tactic right now, because you made a good point about YouTube's policy about that. But with y'all shooting a podcast though, it's not gonna be like majority of the show. It's just like visual elements. I think what they're trying to stop is like people that's like changing themselves into AI and then uploading that. So it's like, it's not the same. But to your point, that might be smart just to be safe initially. But I do think there are some tools that y'all can use to animate it though. You know what I'm saying? It's just that duration part is gonna be the biggest issue though, just because, you know, I'm sure some of these stories are gonna be 2 to 3 minutes long, because people could be long with it, right? And that'll be my issue of like trying to visually tell that story in 2 to 3 frames and then having to keep doing it, because eventually that's gonna cost a lot of money too, to generate those AI renderings and stuff like that. So.
One thing that stood out to me about this company is their use of artificial intelligence. I believe Keep Living is on the cutting edge of podcasting, even though they're just starting, simply because they are utilizing artificial intelligence in a way that I haven't seen it done yet in podcasting or in shows in general. The way that they use artificial intelligence to use a cartoon animated style of storytelling to really bring their stories to life is very strategic and very smart, because Austin is not interviewing celebrities. He's interviewing elders, people with great stories, people that have great wisdom. And what better way to bring their stories to life than to animate it? You know, this could be a more documentary style, but instead he chose to animate it. And I think that's a very smart strategic decision, because in a world where content creation is extremely competitive, you have to always ask yourself, how are you going to stand out? And the fact that he strategically chose like, hey, maybe we should animate their stories to bring it new life in a different way is a great strategic choice, because I haven't seen many of the top shows, or any of the top shows at this point, do that just yet.
If my understanding is that Austin wants to be removed from the process.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then I would say everybody focus on one thing. Because I think it's mostly gonna fall on you in terms of what platform is at one time. So what I would suggest to you is, let's focus on YouTube for the next 90 days, right? Let's define a process for the next 90 days on how we're gonna post, how we're gonna post clips, how we're gonna do shorts, how we're gonna understand packaging, and how we're gonna get the show right? So now after that 90 days, you have a defined system and process that we can then test for the next 90, meaning for 6 months. And then during that second window, let's implement the next platform. Not to say you can't post on it, but I'm saying in terms of it being an area of focus.
Do you suggest which one should go in order?
YouTube first. I think for your audience, Facebook is going to be best, because you're dealing with seniors and people like that's where they're going to be. LinkedIn is more so for a business crowd, so I'm not totally sure where I would rank that in terms of like your offer. Instagram would be next to me, and then you can kind of go A and B with Instagram and LinkedIn because of your offer style. If this is more of a B2B thing, which if it is, correct me. If y'all can sell insurance to companies or get in front of people like that, then cool. Then maybe you'll rank that higher. And then TikTok or something, to me, I would just post that there, and even on Instagram, just because now. But don't post with expectations of leads and stuff like that. I think all your efforts should be focused on YouTube first, and then how do you get people on Facebook? Because I think that's just majority of where the people are right now. And then after that, extra 90-day window, and you can change these windows, by the way. You can do 90, you can do 60, whatever you want to do. Yeah. And then you can go back. What I would do after that 60-day window, if you do the second window, whatever you time it as, go back to YouTube and optimize. So like, let's look at the analytics. Now we got data. Let's go back and see like, how can we optimize what we did before? Do we need to change thumbnails? Do we need to change packaging? Do we need to do some of these other things? Like that's how I would approach that. Because when you make changes too fast, you're not learning enough. You're just making decisions based off emotion. And that's the other reason why I'm like, don't post everywhere with expectations. If you want to post just to post to get it out there, cool. But what you should be optimizing for is one platform at a time. That would be my suggestion. And then it helps you too, like from a learning standpoint. Now you can go on YouTube during your research time or Instagram, whatever the case is, and like dive into more YouTube research and things of that nature instead of like, okay, now you might be overwhelmed because I got to learn 5 platforms at one time. That's not realistic. They're constantly changing. The platform, the mediums, the meta or whatever is working for people right now is going to change every month maybe. So it just makes your consumption different because now you're not necessarily over consuming content for no reason.
One of the key insights here is that, focusing on one platform is better than focusing on everything. I think when we focus on everything, we lose sight of the one thing that we should be focusing on. With them having a long form show, a long form piece of content that they're producing, it's extremely important to find the right platform for that. It's not to say you can't produce content for some of the other platforms, but I think it's extremely important to focus on one, like I mentioned to them, so that they can make analytically data-driven decisions and so that they can master one platform before moving on to the next. But I also think YouTube gives their show the best chance to win because it's made for long form content, and the business hired me so that they can generate more sales and leads. They're trying to build a new media and marketing arm for their business. And so the best way to do that is going to be to go to the place where you can build the most trust per unit of content. And with them having 45-minute, hour-long shows, you want to be on a platform that's best optimized for that, and it's going to be YouTube. And so I think that should be the strategy going forward.
Besides of how you prosper off something like that.
No, I love that. I think that's great. That breakdown is not only great from a packaging standpoint, but how you should communicate that to Dean. So I don't know how you do that now, but like in terms of like how I would communicate that to Dean and like how to form an intro. So like these are the key elements, like this is the emotion I'm trying to convey, this is the message I'm trying to give off based off of these key timestamps in the video. And so he can come up with different sound design and sound treatment for the video to kind of pull out that emotion. So like when I say that, I mean like, you watch like movies or movie scenes like where the undertone is like sad to pull out that emotion to correlate with the messaging over top of it. Like you have to become almost like a prompter is to like AI or ChatGPT, right? You have to be able to, the better you communicate that to him, the better the output he's gonna be from his result. But it's the same thing from like the title and thumbnail standpoint. I think you gave a lot of great things, and I think the great thing about that is that YouTube now offers like an A/B testing for thumbnails. So you can upload 2 thumbnails and we can see which one performs better. Now A/B testing. So like in the back end, that means you can post 2 thumbnails, really you can post 3, to give YouTube options on how to push it. So they'll push those thumbnails to different audiences to see which one works. Now the tricky part about that is the title that you choose has to be correlated to all 3. If the title you choose only works with one thumbnail and the other 2 don't, then we're gonna have a mismatch, which means the video is not gonna perform as well. Make sense? So you could do a lot with that. With that type of messaging, you can pull out quotes like I was just using something like a style like this, like with 2 faces, and then you could do like short quotes. But as you can see, it's only 5 words on here on the screen because you only got so much real estate.
I reference a lot of my stuff in that podcast actually.
Yeah, so like Jay Shetty, Stephen Bartlett, Omar El Takor's podcast is a good one that's on the come up right now. That's done like 150,000 subscribers in a year. So it's just like, I think for you all to do well, we got to figure out how to reach a mass audience that might convey with different emotions set on the show. That's why I asked the question. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, what are the different things we can pull out of people from referencing on the show? So like cancer, that's a big one because a lot of people can relate with that. Like you said, loss of a loved one, another good one. But it's like, how do you, now here's my next challenge. How do you put that in 5 words or less in a way that would make somebody click?
How can I optimize that sentence to where they see it just like that and they understand the whole
Yep. So let's workshop it.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
If I had to put it in a simple, vulgar way, it would just be F cancer or something like that. Because that's like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
dang. Like, but to me, that's a starting point. So if you branch off from there, like, okay, what's a level deeper that connects on the viewer at a different level if they had loss? Because, like I said again, the way you need to frame this conversation, and what'll be a good thing is if all y'all do this as a team, whether Austin's in it or not, or really y'all two, right? Of like, okay, cool, after every show, let's sit down and let's talk about how we want to package it. Because this is more of a collaborative process on everybody's team right now. It's not necessarily one person. So it's like, okay, cool. Based on the conversation we had today, what's the best way we can package this? Like, what are the emotions that we'll pull out today? How can we relate this and make it resonate with somebody else? And then how can we frame it in a package that's simple and effective to work on YouTube, which is in the package and framework we talked about.
Would that work if we did after shooting? Yeah. So like tomorrow we would probably have to do a different location.
And I suggest doing it right afterwards specifically because
That would give me
it's
time-
fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh. That would give me time to upload the photos while we're talking and everything.
I'm trying to find another one real quick. Let me see if I can find one. Another one I like. I said Stephen Bartlett, but have y'all ever heard of Diary of a CEO?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Stephen Bartlett. The podcast is called Diary of a CEO. Similar to like what you were saying, like they're always in the same location too. And so even when you look at, oops, I clicked on the podcast. But even when you look at some of these thumbnails, like I think it's a difference. They have different styles too, but they also have, well, that's fine. They also have consistent elements, right? So the color scheme's the same. Well, I'm gonna ask y'all, what's the same?
What's the question?
What's the same? Like, what are the core elements you see from like their branding basically on YouTube?
Text is the
Red
same.
and the white, same text.
They highlight the red. What they want to highlight.
Yeah, so highlight, bolding.
They got the moderator on one side and the guest on the other. It's
Yep.
always the same.
Because similar to y'all, like there was one time where Steven wasn't as known as he is. So same thing, like for Austin, like we're trying to build the brand. So keep going.
Right. Let's see what else did I notice. The only difference that I see in here, some of them just have a straight black backdrop, and then images on some
Yeah,
of
so
them.
the 80-20, the background in the middle, those animations.
Yep. So that's all correct. So basically, they got branding in the corner each time. They got a consistent black background no matter what they're doing. Whether this is still dark. You know what I'm saying? They might use this to like build a reference. The other thing that y'all might not know, and I don't know if it's gonna let me show it on here. It might not. But if you look at like some of these podcasts, specifically his on YouTube, what you're gonna see is probably like 20 to 30 thumbnail variations that they're trying on the thing. If you use like one of the, I'm gonna send y'all the platform, like 1 of 10 and some of these other things, you're able to see like what thumbnails that they're trying on each episode. So a lot of these shows, they're trying out like 20 different things. Why? Because they got somebody like you that's sitting there writing out notes and they're trying to see which one is gonna perform the best.
Just like in that instance, content creation in this space is extremely competitive. And so Jamal has to understand not only will people be vying for his job in the future, but in order to separate yourself in the here and now, it's gonna take you studying the game. All the great athletes in this time that were great worked hard at their craft. And a part of that is studying film and studying the game around you. So what I want him to do is study social media, study other podcasts, do the work to understand what is setting those brands apart. As a behind the scenes brand builder, like it's the important skill that all brand builders need to have. It's not just understanding how to be a doer, but understanding how to utilize your brain to be a strategist. Director level thinking, I think, is the next level for Jamal as well as Lance, so that they can continue to grow in their career and take their careers to the next level. Because I think that key unlock for me is what helped take my career to the next level. When I understood that there were so many people vying for opportunities in the sports space that it capped our earning potential, and there were Twitter threads going on about this and people that were pissed off. But what I had to understand is that, you know, being a doer in this space, being a great designer, being a great videographer, it's not enough. I need to take my abilities, take my talents, as LeBron would say, to a lane where the strategies and direct level thinking has a higher ROI. So, yeah, man, that's the biggest thing I'm working to get Lance and get Jamal to understand, is that director level thinking is a key component to being a behind the scenes brand builder, no matter the brand you're working with or building at the time.
Bashing to that point would be beneficial for sure. Because the last thing you want to do is be reactionary from the standpoint of like week to week. That's the worst place you could ever be. So I think 10 is great. I think what you want to do now going forward is making sure you maintain a consistent pace to keep that bandwidth between production and release. Because the closer you get in terms of like that timeline, the more pressure, the more problems, the more inefficiencies is going to come into play. You all having 10 episodes between that is going to give you enough time to not make mistakes from the standpoint of, okay, we reviewed the show and it's going out with mistakes. That should not happen if you 10 episodes ahead. You know what I'm saying? Title and thumbnail should also be optimized because y'all got enough time to do that. So I think staying ahead of the game is extremely smart. But to your point earlier, the lead flow of guests is going to be important to be able to keep that up. So being able to have, you know, what y'all have from that standpoint is beneficial. So it'll be good from that standpoint. But definitely just try to keep that up best you can. Because for 10 episodes, that's 2.5 months worth of footage. So August, September, half of October, essentially. And when y'all film, y'all do once a week?
Twice a week.
So how many shows y'all filming a day?
So really two people a week.
So twice a week. So y'all film 8 episodes a month?
We've done it to where we shot 2 people the same day.
Well, if that's the case, y'all gonna stay ahead then. Yeah. Y'all keep that cadence. Even if y'all go down on 1 a week, you'll still be 4 episodes ahead every time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a month's worth of episodes going forward. The fact that y'all gave yourself a 2.5 month head start to be good. Because at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is, Austin is gonna need breaks. Y'all are gonna need breaks. So in the team I used to work with formerly, like we took 2 months off a year essentially. So he took a month off for vacation, so we took half a month, and then we took off in like December. And so preparing like 2.5 months in advance, especially if y'all keep shooting 8 episodes a month, then you'll always be ahead and be able to prepare for like downtime, off time, optimization, stuff like that. So that'll be efficient.
Being week to week is the death of teams. It's the death of talent because it's the quickest way to burn out. And so that's the thing that I'm trying to really get them to understand here is that, you know, the more you lean on just focusing on being week to week or not getting ahead with your content, you're really leaning yourself closer and closer to burning out with your team and with the talent. So the goal here with them is try to come up with a plan and make sure that they are at least 2 weeks ahead. I think when you're a month ahead, you get kind of dangerously out of being relevant, especially if you're doing news or any timely based content, like anything that's like you're doing updates or things that are timely within your content, then, you know, that's different. But if you aren't, then obviously you want to get as far ahead as possible. And with them doing interviews, you should just be getting as far ahead as possible because, I mean, you're not technically doing anything that's connected to news or updates or things that are timely for people. So I really think that Jamal driving the ship and quarterbacking this team, that he needs to understand that it's super important to figure out a schedule that works for this team that allows them to stay ahead, staying on Austin and making sure that the intros are done, shooting enough shows to stay in advance. Because if not, and things get behind, that's when shows don't go out. That's when things don't get done. That's when team members quit, team members walk away because it just becomes too much, because it's like, oh my God, we never have time to breathe. So, timeliness and having a solid content schedule and staying ahead is super key to anybody's media operations.
So my first time meeting Alex, it's cool to meet someone who's been in the space, who actually knows what to do, how to gain the followers, the attention that we need for our show. We learned a lot of information here that we're going to apply to our show starting tomorrow, and we're excited.
Very, very beneficial and informational. And that's the thing that a lot of people miss out on, that he explained well. I think it was very, very helpful for us, because the way we're starting, how we're starting, we need excellence, and I think he brought that very well. I think as a producer role, it's helped out because how we set up everything and how we go throughout the way we work was explained well. That some things that I didn't know, or some things that I could do better, that he explained very well. So I think that's how it was beneficial for me, for you.
Yeah, it's just, as far as the setup, I feel like that's the most important before we get the show started. Just having that setup, making sure we're prepared, making sure we have everything ready to go, our checklist. So just showing us that and telling us, that we need that checklist, that the setup is important, just so we can have a successful show. I think that was the most important.
Yo, so first of all, thank you so much for getting this far into the video. If you love this content, I'm sure you'll love these videos as well. But before we get into that, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you're a brand builder that's inspired by this and looking to build more brands online, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment below. If you're a brand builder, or even if you're a founder of a brand and you want to work with me, make sure you hit the first link in the description, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon.